Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI like this using open source models with Ollama. So with Ollama, you have access to a lot of open source models. So I'm going to show you how to build an AI like this. You can see it basically look like ChatGPT, but everything is hosted locally on my machine. So you don't need access to cloud to be able to run this particular AI. Imagine you being able to analyze your medical documents, analyze your financial documents directly on your network. So there's a vast use case for instances where it's very important for you to run your AI directly on your local network. So this is where you can use Ollama to build an AI like that. So let's get into it. So we are going to build the WebUI using a Docker container. So the first thing we need to make sure is that we have Docker running on our machine. So in my case, I want Docker desktop installed and running on my machine. So what you need to do is that I will simply go to docker.com, click on products, and then I'll click on Docker desktop. And then here I will choose appropriate operating system for my machine. So if I'm using an Apple chip, an Intel chip for Mac, what I'm using Windows or Linux. So I simply click on that and download it and then get it installed on my machine. So when Docker is successfully installed on your machine, this is what you are going to see. This is how the WebUI looks like. So you see your containers, your images, your volume, and so on. So you need to also make sure that you have Ollama installed on your machine. So if you don't know how to do that, I'll put a link to how to get that done in the description below. So let's make sure that both Docker and Ollama is installed on our machine. So we'll do Docker. So we see that Docker is installed successfully. So let's clear that. Now let's check Ollama. So do Ollama. So we see Ollama 2 is installed. Let's clear that and try and run a model in Ollama and see. So let's do Ollama list. So we have this particular model. So let's run the gamma 2b and see. So we do Ollama run gamma column 2b. So we can see that that is running. So let's ask this a question. So 1 plus 2. So let's wait for the answer. And that was fast. We can see that we have our AI running successfully on our machine. Now let's go back to building the WebUI. So let's exit that. So stroke by. So now to build the WebUI, let's go back to Ollama's documentation on GitHub. So we scroll down, and then you can go to the documentations once again. We have all these models here. You need to make sure, you need to also be aware that the bigger the parameter, the heavier the model is going to run on your machine. So you need to be aware of that. So I will scroll down. So now we see the WebUIs that are here, desktop and WebUI. So we are not building a chatbot. We'll build that in our next video. So we are building this one. So the open WebUI. So this is the one that we are building. So we scroll down. So you can see that this is exactly what we are trying to build. So we scroll down and take a look at the documentation. So this is the command that we are going to use in our terminal to actually run the UI on our local machine. So you can see that if Ollama is on your machine, so you run this command. If Ollama is on a different server, you use this particular command, and then you replace the Ollama based URL with the URL, your URL. So to run Ollama WebUI using NVIDIA GPU support, so you can use this particular command, and then you can use the GUDA, which will make your model actually run very fast. So if you have that, you can simply run this particular command and you can get that done. So you can go to the documentation and see which one fits your needs, and then you go ahead and then you run that. So, and we are going to be doing our installation using this particular command, the first one. So we are going to run Ollama. We are going to do our installation using if Ollama is on your computer. So we simply copy this particular command. So we simply come back to our WebUI and then we paste the command that we just copied from the website, and then we click on enter. and now we wait. So that is being pulled, the UI is being pulled into our machine now. So we just wait for that to be done. So now that our image is done, let's go back to our Docker desktop and see whether the image is available. So you can see that we have the image here. So you can see the Open WebUI image is available in our Docker desktop application. So you can take a look at the image here. So you see all the containers we have available. So when you click on image, you can see that we have this particular image that we just pulled. So you can click on it. You can look at the vulnerabilities. If you want to analyze it, run analysis on it. You can run it. You can stop it. You can delete it here. So we have the image running successfully. So the next thing we need to do is that let's be sure that the image is accessible using a web browser. So we come to our web browser and we can see that our image is running. So to be sure that the image is running, just go to localhost, then you go to port 11434. So on the port 11434, you can see that Ollama is running successfully. So now that Ollama is running successfully, let's access the WebUI. To access the WebUI is accessible on port 3000. So we go to port 3000 to see. So when you come to port 3000, so as you can see at the top, we have localhost, then we have the port, which is port 3000. You'll be prompted to log in. So if you don't have a login, you simply click on sign up and then you sign up for an account. So remember, when we're doing the installation, when we look at the documents, the documentation, you can see that we have a command here that will create a database for us. So this is where your data is going to be stored. So this is why it requires, you had a warning here that you need to include this in your installation command. So you can see that part of the command is here, which created a database for us. So you simply let's go back. So you simply come back and you sign up. Because I already signed up, I won't go and do that again. So click on sign in. And that's it. You can see that we are now accessing our web UI. So on the web UI, you can see that all the models that we have installed on our machine is available here. We have the Asana model, we have the Gamma model and stuff like that. So remember, this was the model we created, the custom model we created ourselves in our first video. I'll put a link to that in the description below. And then you have your workstation, your charts, your workspace, your chart and stuff like that. So our first test, let's test the Asana model. So let's choose that and ask it a question. So who is your captain? Let's wait for that. So at this point, the model will be loaded into your memory, and then the next time you run a query is going to be a bit faster. So you can see that our captain is the fantastic Martin Odegaard. So remember, we built this particular custom model that it should be like a bot for Arsenal Football Club. So you can see that it's giving answers related to that. It's not done because it's a huge model, so it's taking a little bit of time. My machine is not as fast as maybe yours. So you can see he's been leading the team with great passion and dedication. So let's choose another model and ask it a question. So this time around, we want to ask the Gamma 2B a question. So let me say, write a Python program for snake game. Let's wait for that and see. So you can see that it's telling us that unable to generate code or provide Python programs. However, I can assist you and stuff like that. So let's go back to, we have actually models that are being designed for coding. So in order for, you can actually choose here and try other models. But in order for us to do that, let's just go back to our Ollama website and install a model, and then we'll see whether it will show up or not. So let's go back to Ollama website, ollama.com. So click on models. So let me see code. So let's just choose this one. So let me copy this. Let me try and pull that to my machine and see, and let's see whether we'll see it in the WebUI. So to simply pull a model, you just come, you take a look at the model and you pull it to your machine. So let me come back to my web terminal, and then I'll paste that here, and then I'll wait for the model to be pulled. So we are in our WebUI now. Let's refresh and see. So now we can see that we have the code, the model showing up. So let's choose that. And now let's ask it the same question and see whether we'll get an answer for that. I'm just going to copy this and paste that. Let's see. And now you can see that we are actually getting a code. So now you can see we are getting a code for a snake game. So you can see that we are importing from Pygame and writing a code for that. I think it's not done generating that. So you can even run two models at the same time. So to run two models at the same time, so you can see that I have Phi 3 and then Gamma 2 be here. So they are all running the same time, at the same time, and then I'm asking them the same question. They're all giving me the same answer, but with different approach. So to simply do that, you just choose the first model. So this time around, the first one I chose was this. Then you click on add, then you choose the second model. And then as simple as that, you ask it a question, and then you are going to have both of them running. So you can even have more than that. You can have more than two models running at the same time. So I want to ask the next question. I want to ask 3 models at the same time. So I'll have 3 models simply answering the same question for me. So this is how to simply do that. So in my case, my CPU is not that strong. My machine is not that strong. So I'm not going to do that. It's going to take a long time to get a response from it. So that is how to do that. So another thing you can do is that you can simply come to admin panel, and then you click on add. So this is where you want to add more users to your account. So say you are using this internally in your organization and you want to add users. So you can simply come and manually add users here, or just import a CSV file, and all the users are going to be added to database. So you can also see your database here. You can click on it to download it. You can see all the users here. So here you can allow chat deletion and stuff like that. So general permissions, you can see user permissions and stuff like that. Model whitelisting. So you can take a look at it. You can play around and see all the functionalities that are available. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification button, and like this particular video. See you in the next one.